Foreign investment, particularly Chinese, always seems to have a rough time in the media. In Australia, the Treasurers have only exercised their powers under the Foreign Acquisitions and Takeovers Act 4 times since 2000 to block or alter transactions that are contrary to the national interest. The most recent and rather controversial injunction was the sale of the Kidman estate. Internationally, the recent attempted sale of the Tenke mine in DRC has also caused significant issues for the parties involved. In both cases, I'm going to try to show that lawyers cannot adequately advise their clients without a complex and nuanced understanding of the socio-political environments with which they seek to operate, particularly with foreign investment. The Australian Financial Review notes that purchases by Chinese into Australian farmland always seems to attract more attention than other sectors. The fact that Bill Shorten and Penny Wong can't come to an agreement on the matter highlights its political sensitivity. The sale of the 11 million hectare Kidman properties were blocked in November 2015 because it included the South Australian Anna Creek Station, which partially sits over the government's Woomera rocket testing range. Kidman then removed the Anna Creek site and the sale process was allowed to continue. But in March 2016, Treasurer Scott Morrison got an interim order delaying the sale into July 26 and asked for an external review, 26th of July conveniently being 24 days post the federal election. In May, he announced a preliminary decision. The sale was contrary to the national interest, and foreign investment is to be done on Australia's own terms. In his statement, he stressed the importance of assuring the community that investment is being made in a way which ensures that Australia's national interest is protected. On the surface, there's nothing wrong with this decision, and it's in line with previous reasonings to block foreign investment. However, Malcolm Brennan from Kingwood Mallison notes in his article that 1. There has never been a preliminary decision used to block foreign investment. 2. The decision relies on an external review board rather than that of the FIRB when assessing the national interest. 3. It provides no guidance how future proposals involving the large sale of Australian businesses are to be dealt with by vendors. And 4. The government recently approved the sale of the Van Diemen's Land Company in Tasmania to a Chinese buyer and stressed that the government does not choose winners, that is for the vendor, through the sale process. Yet clearly the government has chosen a winner, the Australian-backed Reinhardt money over Chinese money for a similar amount. Much easier for Aussies to look at. With these irregularities in mind, he argues that it would appear assuring public confidence is solely about winning votes for the election 2 months down the road. Whether or not Mr. Morrison made the correct decision in terms of blocking the foreign investment is not the issue. The big takeaway from the Kidman decision are that as lawyers advising either the vendor or purchase of foreign investment of all sizes, much more care needs to be given into carefully traversing the socio-political environment which has, as evidenced here, an arguably unfettered power through avenues like the national interest test to disrupt foreign investment entirely. Specifically, where there is a history of media sensitivity, governments are showing more and more tendencies to align themselves with the public to gain political standing or to avoid mass media backlash. This is true even more so around an election that was widely known and was very close. The Tenke mine holds one of the world's largest known copper resources and is therefore an extremely valuable asset in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Proposition: how could it be that a central government is supportive of the sale of a state-owned mining company to a Chinese investor, but the company itself publicly blocks the transaction? In May 2016, Freeport and Lundin Mining announced the sale of their respective shares in the mine to China Moly, a move that was publicly supported by the DRC government. In response, Chairman Albert Yumo of state-owned mining Gécamines said that any simultaneous withdrawal by Lundin and Freeport in favour of CMOC or other buyers will be problematic and would in fact actually reinforce the suspicion of fraud to Gécamines' and the state's rights. The transaction will remain in a deadlock unless Lundin and Freeport respect Gécamines' and the state's rights. Let's have a brief look at the current political situation. The current president, Joseph Kabila, has been in power since 2001 and recently has been attempting to bypass the constitution of the DRC to extend his presidency. It's also well documented that the Chinese have been ingratiating themselves with Kabila, most likely with the intention to ease foreign investment into the country. On the other hand, Moise Katumbi is the current governor of the Katanga region, which is also where Gécamines has its headquarters located and where the majority of its mines are. Katumbi resigned from the ruling political party with Joseph Kabila in 2015 and publicly expressed his intent to become the next president. Subsequently, Kabila issued an arrest warrant and Katumbi was forced to flee the country. Come 2016, Kabila is still president by repetitively delaying the election. Katumbi is still in exile, and two international firms find themselves at the intersection of global and domestic politics. Prima facie, it would appear that purchasers China Mali thought that having the support of the central government through Kabila and the fact that local laws are silent as to foreign purchases would be sufficient enough to make the deal stick, and took the risk. But due to Katumbi's influence over Gécamines and the recent aforementioned political happenings, the sale was blocked and is still at international arbitration. From the two cases, it's clear that multi-directional political pressures can easily disrupt investment. The legal validity in both cases is less important than the fact that without having a complex understanding of the socio-political environment on all levels, it's impossible to advise your client, for example, that Gécamines, which is apparently a state-owned company, is going to block a sale which the ruling government supports, or that the Treasurer will take unprecedented steps to make the sale of your land appear to be going to a majority Australian investor for positive media attention for a close election.